to show how to do validations on micomap.org for people who have been validating on .com and want to switch to the new site. So first thing you need to do is just go to micomap.org. You're going to see a sign in button at the top right and click that. If you've been validating on .com, the best thing to do is probably link your two accounts. So rather than signing in with email, do continue with micomap.com, because that way your permissions should be transferred. So all the projects you have access to, etc. So when I click that, it just logs me in. You're going to get your name up here. And if your permissions transferred properly, you're going to see lab panel. So if you don't see lab panel, you're going to have to talk to somebody. You can ask me, Hart, Steven, I don't know, about getting your permissions upgraded so that you can see lab panel, because that's right now where we go to do the validations. So I've got a couple things on the left, but the thing you're going to want to look at is validation management and validate records. So it's right now showing all my starred projects. If I go to filters and I get rid of show only starred, here are all the projects in Micomap. So you can see there's 42 pages. So what you'll probably want to do is search for what project you want. You can star them. You can search by some other filters up here. But I am going to open the Micomap BC project, and it's a big parent project, so it sometimes takes a little bit. So we'll just wait for it to load. Okay. So here's what we got. We've got some stats at the top, validators. You can click it. You can see all of them. How many records, a breakdown of how much in the project has been validated, and then even more if you press project statistics and charts. So it's loading a map. We've got some geographic info, top collectors in the project, top validators in the project, new names. This is not up to date, but this one is pretty up to date normally, like how many validations have been done each day. And then if we scroll down, we see all these records. So let's just, there's our map. Let's just collapse this for now and look at this dashboard. So here are just all the records in the project. There are a lot. So we have 150 pages. So let's say you wanted to validate. You could do a couple things. You could dump a record number in here. You could just filter to not assessed, which is the best way to just find everything that needs to be validated. Or you can apply some specific filters. So if you wanted to only validate your own things, like I could load my things here, and I'll also put not assessed, and it will load all my things that need to be validated. Right now I have it on 25 records per page, but you can switch that to 10 or I think 50 or 100. Yeah. So anyway, here are mine. And you can see these all have gray check marks. They haven't been validated. I am going to change this, and we can look at one of John's. And we'll see when we load. Let me just change this to 10 so it's a little simpler. Okay. So, here we have some that have gray check marks and some that have orange. So orange just means it was validated in a different project. That's not Micomap BC in this case. And in most of these situations, it means they were auto-validated. So if you hover over and it says Fungi, that means they were auto-validated. This one, no, but most of these are going to be, auto-validated. I have them like this so that I can sort of manually check them for now, but that's what the orange check mark means, is it was just validated somewhere else. So, besides that, we got some things that are pretty similar to the old site. So this is a link to our INAT observation. This whole thing here. You can star something either because you're working on it or you want to come back to it. Here's the collector's name on INAT. And then we have our little buttons that we use here. So similar to before, but instead of having an S for sequence, it just has the number, and then it will show up with any low RIC flags like this. So if I click the sequence pop up, we get this little window and you can scroll. There's your 5 sequences. There's 1 in the trash on this one. So you can see, oh, RIC 0. Okay, I've never seen that. But this one, RIC 200, there is our consensus sequence. If I want to copy it, I can copy it there. If I want the FASTQ, I can download it there. And if I want to flag it as non-target, etc., I can do that there and I can throw it out. So all of these have that. There's the consensus, there's how I copy it. These are already tagged as low RIC because there's only 6. Yeah, it's funny, this one says 0. Okay, so that's that. If you see a blue B, it means the blast has already been loaded for all of these sequences. If it's orange, it means it's loading. The B doesn't get orange, but it's like highlighted orange. And if it's highlighted red, it means it just hasn't been loaded yet. The bird is if it's been pushed to INAT. So if it's gray, it's just like it hasn't been validated yet. I guess these orange ones should technically have it green, so maybe I'll write that down. But once you push it, I'll show you later, it will go, you can push it and it will become green once the data is on INAT. So this column, analyze, this is what is used to decide if something can be auto-validated. So basically there's an algorithm. I can show you some of the information about it in a couple seconds. But it basically runs a calculation on its confidence to apply a specific name. And if that number comes out high and it gets highlighted green, it will have been auto-validated. If it just says manual or it's highlighted in red or yellow, it won't have been auto-validated. So pressing analyze records is how you would trigger this assessment and then the subsequent auto-validation. Okay, the location, and you can leave notes, you can make them public, and the validation date, which is not applicable here. All right, so let's say we wanted to do, I was just looking at a easy one earlier to show as an example, a Hygrophilopsis. So I'm going to load John's not assessed Hygrophilopsis. I think I was looking at this one. So I'm not sure why these are all at 0% actually, but that's fine for our purposes to just go through the whole process. So if I open this one here, I think I already had it open. Just look at it. Looks good. It has 3 sequences. So I'm going to star it just so I remember which of these I'm working on. And then something that's really helpful is if you can enable pop-ups on this site. The first time you press blast, you'll probably get a little thing like, do you want to enable pop-ups? I would do it because it's really helpful. If you watch my tabs at the top, when I click this blast, it blasts, or rather it opens the blast searches for all 3 of the associated sequences. So it's just way less clicking around, super helpful. So our first one has 13 reads. Well, let me just show you a little bit about what these blast searches look like first. So let's just go to the best one, 200. All right, so I guess it maybe wasn't auto-validated because there's just a lot that's not validated in these results, but anyway, I'm not sure. Our record is highlighted purple, so we can see ours. And then a couple things that are different about the blast results. First is that you got all these things highlighted in yellow. In these cases, these are highlighted in yellow because these are not validated records, but there's several reasons why they can be highlighted yellow. So whereas this one here has the green check mark, this one has a yellow check mark. It needs something fixed in this record, needs to be validated, but you can see they can also be yellow and have a green check mark. So this one, we can see what's wrong with it right away. It's a Picipes. It's probably just a Picipes record that got contamination of a Hygrophilopsis on it. So that sequence, as long as this actually is a Picipes, well, yeah, it's looks like it's actually even been validated, the sequence could be thrown out. So it gives you this trash can here when it thinks that that's the case. So I don't do that for like microfungal contamination, but when it's just like another macrofungi from the run, we'll throw it out. Okay. So we've got all these ones that need validation, but it's a clear-cut ID. If we want to look at GenBank, here is GenBank. It's in a different tab up here. We would see types annotated in the same way. None on this page at all, but it'll be in a yellow box. And then the last thing that's kind of different is that the adjusted score is now the top one, and it's not in brackets. They've switched places. The raw score is the bracket score underneath. So NCBI, Mycoblast, we've got the summary, which is like this thing of how the name within, 0.5%. The analysis is how it decided that it couldn't do an auto validation. So in this case, it looks like what really took it out was 19 same species hits below 98.5%. Okay, so that's interesting. So anyway, we got these things. This was our 200 reads in consensus. We have this page, 47. These are also yellow because they have like a low reads flag on them, so you could dismiss that if you wanted to. Our sequence is way down here, the purple one. But everything else here works pretty much the same as far as I know. We've got our pairwise alignment. Yeah, and if you don't like having all these things yellow, you can just turn it off, and then the check marks come up gray for things that aren't validated, which is kind of how it was before. The reason that this exists is more so that if you're doing a validation and you come across a blast search that just needs a lot of cleaning up, it's basically like putting it right in your face, the ones that need attention. So you could go through and say like bulk validate all of these or fix any problems they have. It'll also highlight them yellow if they need to be reverse complemented and give you a button to just do that. And again, like the garbage can for the ones that are it likely thinks are contaminants. And then if you had another name that was kind of like standing out, it would be yellow. So anyway, you can turn that off. All right, so all of these are on target. I don't need to mark any of them as off target. I know what my ID is. I can close all these. I can agree with this ID. And I can write many good matches, can be kind of lazy, to collections using this name. I guess I could have pulled one for a link. I wonder if there's another one from BC. Sure. Hasn't been validated yet. Here we go. Was that adjusted? I don't even know what I was looking at. Yeah. Okay, so there's my comment. I'm going to exit my blast searches. Go back here. Here's the one I was working on. I'm going to press the check. It's going to go green. And now you can see my bird is red. So it's like prompting me to push the data. I will push the data. And I'm done. I can just refresh this. There we go. And if I refresh this, I don't really need to in this case because the name is right, but it will like reload this whole page, and because I have my filter set to not assessed, it will disappear, if that makes sense. Yeah, so it's taking its sweet time. But that is pretty much the gist of it. The couple differences and new things. So I will maybe leave it at that for now.